NBA playoffs is here. NBA playoffs is here. And why not have a celebrity like Hollywood Ray here to the show? Let's get it started, baby. NBA playoffs. And I got some raw thoughts. He got some raw thoughts. Here we go.
You're on time to talk sports with Raw Mind. Game day, who plays with updates of all kinds. From press box to sideline. Who got cut, who got signed. Who's clutch when it's crunch time. The starting lineup or the pine. These athletes compete, some without even trying. You want a championship, you gotta grind. When them bright lights shine, and this game go 9, they gon' cover the story, not quite like Ryan. Exclusive interviews, dudes plug like Mike Line. He's got the inside scoop of why, who got fined. Prime time, got the game statistics. I could say, if you wasn't at the game, you missed it. But now Raw Mind Sports covers the distance. Front row, that's close like a coach's assistant. You wanna be in the know? Eyes open and listen. This is Raw Mind Sports, another edition.
Welcome to another edition of Raw Mind Sports. I'm your host, Ryan Jones. This show is sponsored by Essential Collections by Monica Ricks. Her website is www.essentialcollections.square.site. Handmade products, facial care, hair care, beard growth, things for the ladies. Whatever you want, 15% discount. Use the promo code RAWMIND. Use the promo code RAWMIND. And without further ado, here we go. You already know what time it is. We got my guy, Ray, Hollywood Ray. Ray, how you doing today, Ray?
I'm good, man. You know, as always, it's always a pleasure to be on here with you, especially when we talk basketball. Because I know there's gonna be raw thoughts as we already know, and it's also gonna be some different opinions on here. So I'm happy. Just a quick aside, because obviously I know you opened up with the promo for Monica. I saw the post that Monica made with the feature article that she was in. So I just wanted to say on air, congratulations for getting that accomplishment. So keep being an example of what Black excellence looks like. So keep doing what you're doing. You're on to something great.
Well, check you out. Hey, Monica, he coming. He ain't playing. He coming hard too. He coming real hard. So, Monica, get ready for that. So, with that being said, we got the Eastern Conference, Western Conference, NBA playoffs. We got 2 more play-in games tonight. But before we start with the other teams, let's go with who you got. Milwaukee versus ? Who are they?
It's going to be between Miami and Chicago, right? I think that's
correct.
Yeah. Honestly, this will be a warm up for Milwaukee, regardless of who they face. I think that if they are to face Miami, I think Miami would give them a harder time. I think either team loses in 5, regardless of who's in there. Only because I think they'll have one game where somebody on those respective teams will go crazy. And you have nights when the shot's not falling, the defense is not as crisp. You may turn the ball over. So, yeah. But either way, I mean, Milwaukee advances. I mean, there's no barring injury, if everyone's healthy, there's no way Milwaukee's losing this first round. Usually the best team always wins out in the NBA. So yeah, Milwaukee should either sweep whoever they face in the first round, or be a gentleman's sweep.
I mean, I like Miami. I mean, people like Chicago, but the gentle sweep. If Miami is in this playoff series, I don't see a gentle sweep. For some reason, I don't know what happens in the playoffs, but the Miami Heat find a way to slither their way through rounds. I ain't gonna say they're gonna beat Milwaukee.
Yeah,
but gentleman sweep, I'm not gonna say that.
Yeah,
for Miami, I don't know what Chicago gonna do.
Yeah.
But I know with Eric Spoelstra, we just don't know what's gonna happen. For some reason, Jimmy Butler comes alive in the playoffs the past few seasons, so we'll see.
He does, but I think the issue with Jimmy Butler, in my opinion, once again, he's a hell of a player, hell of a competitor. There's too many moments when he waits for the game to come to him. It happened last year against my Celtics. It happened in other playoffs that he's been a part of. We know by now he can go get it because he's proven that he can get whatever he wants at any given time. And I think because he believes that, that's why he sometimes defers to Bam, or he'll defer to Kyle Lowry, or he'll defer, to Tyler Hero, so on and so forth. And listen, getting your teammates involved is huge. It's a major component of the game. It keeps everyone engaged, not just offensively, but also on the defensive end. However, They signed you to a max deal to be that guy, not a guy that wasted the third quarters to get 16 in the third and you close out the fourth. They need you to get 25 to 30 points every game to even have a shot. And we saw it the other night against Atlanta, right? Because we're recording this on a Friday night. They were going back and forth. They hit Miami in the mouth, and then once he started to actually get there and start playing, that's when things started to change. So he's got to be able to do that from the jump. But I just don't know if this version of the Heat, because once again, it's basically the same team from last year. Everyone's a year older. They're kind of limping into the playoffs as a 7 seed. I don't know if they have enough talent or enough offensive firepower to mess with with Milwaukee, because if they're clicking on all cylinders, meaning Drew Holiday, obviously if Middleton can be what he has been in previous postseasons, then obviously you got the Greek Freak. It's going to be problems. And once again, to your point, you're right. Spoelstra is going to coach. He's going to coach his ass off. That's what he does. But I'm not sure if this iteration of the Miami Heat can do what they've done in the past. But they will make it tough, no doubt.
One more question for you before we get off that topic right there. I know you were saying they paid him a lot of money to get it done, like Jimmy Butler to get it done. Do you think Jimmy Butler is the number one option or a franchise player on a team that could carry a team to a championship outside of the bubble situation?
So no, and I've gotten flack about that because there's they beat your Celtics. Okay, yeah, they did. They were mentally tougher than the Celtics in that moment, and they had a decent showing in that finals. But then LeBron and AD showed who they were, and they went home ringless like my Celtics. So it is what it is. I think he's a very strong number 2, which is why I think it worked in Philadelphia, with Embiid being the 1, him being the 2, and then obviously Simmons at that time was their third best player. So I think that, yeah, he's once again hell of a talent. I think in his mind he thinks he's a 1, right? I think Jimmy believes he's a 1. He has that irrational confidence that's needed to be a franchise or a star player. But no, he's not a number 1 in my opinion. Once again, can he get the job done at times? Absolutely. I was there in Game 6 last year when we basically was on the floor. We had the Eastern Conference Trophy. Like it wasn't in my hand, but it was literally right next to me, and I'm seeing it. They're about to pull it out on the floor because I do security at TD Garden. Excuse me. And Jimmy is going bananas. I mean, he's going ballistic on us. And I'm telling the people behind me, I'm like, we might have to pull that trophy back into the into the back room, because he's not. They may lose this series. He's not losing tonight. Like he was saying, they are not celebrating here tonight. They're gonna have to get us on that Game 7, which thankfully the Celtics did. But yeah, once again, he's gonna be good for a few games where he goes crazy. But we haven't seen it, right? We haven't seen him be the guy on the championship team. So
right.
That answer right now is no. Once again, could it be? Sure. But as of now, as it's currently constructed, no, that's not the case.
So since I'm assuming you're going Miami.
Yeah, I'm going Miami tonight. Yeah, I think Miami.
Right, so,
yeah, like I said, once again, you just spoke about special. Like they'll win tonight to get it done. But they'll Chicago has a lot to improve on. Once again, Lonzo Ball's career seems to be done at this moment. I like what I saw from Levine the other night. I like what I saw from DeRozan. I thought that was awesome to see his daughter be that involved in the game. I thought that was super cool.
Me too. And then he put her to school today. He told her she couldn't come today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If anything, he should have said it's okay to miss one day. You're not gonna have perfect attendance. You could let her come today, and help you out.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to win the perfect attendance award. I mean, one day ain't gonna hurt.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Raw thoughts. If she ain't doing what she's supposed to be doing already, then one day ain't gonna hurt.
Especially with them going into the weekend, right? Like it was a Friday night.
Right.
Most likely, I mean, once again, to be in Miami. I mean, once again, she's a child, so it's not like she's going to be doing too many things in Miami. But it's as someone who lived in Miami for 7 years, it is always cool. That's my co-host.
I know. Levine is a better homeless man's.
We're gonna
talk about Paul George in a minute.
We're gonna hold that. Yeah, that's a running joke on our show. We had a guy come on our show that mentioned that Jason Tatum was a homeless man, Paul George. So that's been a running joke on our show for a while. That's why he commented that. So what's up, man? Thanks for listening, man. I'll see you tomorrow, sir.
Essential Collections
Yeah.
on the sponsor.
Yes, sir.
Brought to you by her. East playoffs again. Knicks versus 76ers. Who you got?
You said Nets versus 76ers? Oh, this honestly, Brooklyn. I remember the series a few years ago, right? There, I mean, just the teams are totally different, right? Obviously, Simmons was still there, and they had JJ Redick, and it was a much different roster than it is now. But listen, Embiid is playing the best basketball of his life. But once again, the wild card is going to be James Harden. What James Harden are you going to get? We've seen him time and time again be someone that has dominated the regular season. And because of that, he'll be a Hall of Famer, when it's all said and done. But his postseason career has a lot left to be desired. And I like Maxey as a player. Tobias Harris gets the biggest pass of any person that has a max deal or close to a max deal. For him to sign a 5-year, $180 million deal, and he's putting up 13 points a game. And once again, I know that scoring is not the end all be all when it comes to being a basketball player, but for someone who was deemed to be able to fill it up when he was in Orlando, fill it up a little when he was in LA as well. You would think that he would be able to offer more than 14 a game, and to be J. Cole's lookalike. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot going on there. But I like what Mikal Bridges has done. I like what Cam Johnson has done. But this is also to me a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. Like they may win a game, maybe two at the most. But Philadelphia is the better team. And like I mentioned, like the better team usually wins. So I see that happening here. Like Philadelphia should be advancing here.
For me, I'm gonna say it like this, and it's raw thoughts here. The Nets should sweep. Excuse me, 76ers should sweep.
Oh, but I was saying, I'm like, wow, I was okay. That's a wrong thought.
Yes, it was. But
you added that out.
The 76ers actually should sweep the Nets,
right?
But it won't be an easy sweep. I can see these games going 1 or 2, 3 or 4 points, but the Nets will still overcome. But it won't be like domination. And Embiid will still get his points. This young team, Mikal Bridges has been playing well. They got another kid on the Brooklyn Nets has been playing well since they made all these trades and stuff.
Cam Thomas, Thomas,
right. Yeah. These guys are going to play because they have nothing to lose. So I can see these teams. I don't see like domination, 20 points, 15-point games. I see something. I know they say a win is a win, but when I'm thinking about sweep, we're looking at the 76ers supposed to just absolutely dominate the Brooklyn Nets. I don't see that. I see them probably with the fiery young team, and people are going to have this. The storyline going to be like, hey, this team is coming. If they rebuild, get a few pieces, the Brooklyn.
Yeah, just unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
All right, so they expect the people.
That's how quick their chances may go. As quick as you went mute, that's how quick their chances may go. just saying. That's how quick it may be. So, they may have to do what my shirt says, and it says, "Let your faith be bigger than your fear." So that's right. So,
they may not, but I mean, they're going. But the Sixers gonna win the series. I feel like it's gonna be maybe
for sure.
Each game maybe like 3 or 4 points at the max. For me, this is my raw thoughts. If they sweep in 4 games, I don't see total domination. It'll be under 10. I say 3 or 4 points actually, but it'll be under 10.
It'll be. I mean, well, different teams, but it'll be like what the Celtics did to the Nets last year, right? There was no blowout games. Game 2 could have been a blowout for Brooklyn because Brooklyn was up 17, and then Boston ended up coming back to take that 2-0 lead. So, but yeah, no game I think was won more than 8 points, 7, 8 points. So, everyone is a lot more tight in the playoffs. So there's going to be turnovers that don't usually happen. There's going to be fouls that don't usually happen. And there's going to be guys that score they don't usually score as well, because there's always someone that rises to the occasion that you didn't expect. So, but yeah, like I say, it's either they'll make it tough. Once again, Jacques Vaughn has done a great job of keeping them afloat. Post Kyrie and KD. But at the end of the day, like I said, they'll be, by the end of this month, they'll be on the couch, chilling like the rest of us.
With that being said, let's go to another game. It's a tricky one. Eastern Conference playoffs. Knicks and Cavaliers. Who you got, Ray?
So this is probably the most evenly matched series, I think, on both conferences. The Knicks coming into that I feel like they kind of limp again. Obviously Julius Randle got hurt, and I know people are pushing the narrative for Emmanuel Quickly to be the sixth man of the year because of how he played later on in the season. And Thibodeau has done a phenomenal job with them. Like I think that to be in the playoffs throughout the last 3 years, the defense has improved, the offense has improved, and once again they still have some ways to go with some guys that need to get better, like Obi Toppin and the Mitchell Robinsons of the world. But I like Cleveland here, though. I do. I think that Donovan Mitchell should be the best player in the series. And I'm sorry, excuse me. I talked about the Knicks, and I didn't even bring up Brunson. Brunson surpassed my expectations over there.
Everybody's expectations from what I
won't say everybody, because my co-host was probably listening. Like he has been a supporter of Jalen Brunson. He's mentioned on numerous occasions on our show that Jalen Brunson, should have been an all-star, and he's a heck of a player. So I give credit to my co-host Aaron because he gave credit where it was due from the jump. Even in the offseason, he said this is a great signing. It was going to work. So he foresaw something that a lot of us didn't see. So I give credit where it's due there. But yeah, he's been great. But yeah, once again, Donovan Mitchell has been phenomenal. Evan Mobley's getting Defensive Player of the Year votes. And, I just think that team, so Mitchell, Mobley, Garland, Jared Allen, I just think they have a team there that, they should at least get out the first round. I think they lose to Milwaukee in the second round, but they should beat the Knicks. Once again, it's more evenly matched than I think any other series that we have here in both conferences. But I'll say I think Cleveland wins in 6. I'll say Cleveland wins in 6. It'd be entertaining though, but Cleveland wins in 6.
Yeah, it's one of them series for me, like star power. Bronson has overachieved to a lot of people. Bronson may say, I was always that dude. But dude, you were not Donovan. We looked at Donovan Mitchell differently. I can see this series going 7 games, man. But I feel like it's gonna come down to star power. It's gonna come down to Donovan Mitchell over Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle may have his good, bad, whatever, inconsistent. We may see a good Julius Randle. I just feel like Cleveland is gonna, outside of LeBron James, is gonna finally get out the first round, or make the playoffs. And this is what makes this kind of intriguing. Like they're actually making the playoffs without a LeBron James player. Knicks are probably going to eventually start picking up key players. Brooklyn was taking those franchise players, but I know as my dad say, diehard Knicks guy. Everybody don't want to play in the Garden every single night. People don't mind being the person coming on the road or the visitor coming to the Garden, putting up a show.
Yeah.
But you have to put up for what he says, a high level performance every night to be in a Knicks uniform, and that's where the mental, the draining of the fans can come in, because they're expecting that. Like if LeBron comes in one night, he's in the Western Conference.
Right.
He comes in and play. Then if Steph Curry comes in one night, you're not expecting them to come over there every single night, 6, 7, 8, 9 times a night. So it's easy to go in the Garden and play good for one night. But once you show them that expectation, then it's there. Like it never goes down. And for me, the Knicks will probably be getting a few pieces, maybe, if they can handle pressure. But I feel like Donovan really wanted to be in New York, Things didn't happen because of your guy, Danny Ayton, before he went to Utah. So
No,
we'll see.
they bluffed on the Knicks. Like the Knicks was calling his bluff apparently, thinking that they wasn't good. Danny Ainge didn't have another deal in place, and we call him traded Danny up here. Traded Danny did what he does best. He said, "Okay, y'all think I don't have a deal? I'm gonna show y'all that I do," and that's exactly what happened. But and once again, I'm sure. I don't know how old your dad is, but I know I'm pretty sure he's seen basically all the glory days of the Knicks, right? So he saw the Bernard Kings, he saw
yes, he did.
the David Bushers, the Jerry Lucases, the Earl Monroes, obviously then to Patrick Ewings and Kenny Walker and Derek Harper. Yeah, I get it, like I get it, but to me, I named most players I named played more than 25 years ago in a Knick uniform. And they hold on to this with the Mecca, and we're the birthplace of basketball, and we have the best hoopers.
And he says that all the time, like no matter where you go, it's still the Mecca. It never changes.
And once again, I love that they hold on to that. It's like I get it. It's maybe for sentimental reasons. I get it. We are quickly approaching the 50-year anniversary of their last championship. You and I was not born. My co-host wasn't born. Your kids wasn't born. There's a lot of things, once again, there was a lot of things. My mom was in the 8th grade. It's my older brother wasn't born. So it's like there's a lot of things that had not happened the last time the New York Knicks even won a championship. So I urge them to temper their expectations. Be happy that you end the postseason for the second time in the last 3 years, and just see how them boys ball. See how they ball. I know Stephen A. obviously has been on TV going crazy, saying that you got to find a way to Cleveland.
Right.
And I get that, because obviously what you just alluded to about them finding or trying to get Donovan Mitchell, and he wanted to come there, and the deal obviously fell through in the end. But yeah, please, like we gotta stop holding on to what it is. Once again, the
he's one of those guys.
The championship's still there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
you still got those 2 rings. You still made the finals in '94. You still made the finals in '99. You still won 54 games 10 years ago. Which to me, I think they're still paying for that mistake on that team there. That team went 54-28. Had Mike Woodson as a head coach, who could have won Coach of the Year. Excuse me. And they beat my Celtics in 6. Like they mopped the floor with us. And then Indiana, who was a really good team at that time with a young Paul George and Roy Hibbert and George Hill, so on and so forth. Like they were up and rising at that time. I thought they had something going there. They chose to let a lot of those guys go after winning that many games. So this is on James Dolan. It's on Phil Jackson at the time as well. Like there's a lot of ineptitude, a lot of there's a lot of foolishness going on at the top.
I got some Rothos.
And they, so they need to change some things up there. But maybe this is a part of the culture change now with them making the playoffs for the second time in 3 years. But once again, New York fans in general, just be happy that you're there, and just see what happens from there.
And with that being said, I'm gonna make this short and quick. Raw thoughts. Even Ray said earlier, Hollywood Ray, I'm coming raw thoughts. Raw thoughts. I hate when people talk about the Knicks' expectations. Like, I hope they don't think the Knicks get into the finals. Hope they don't think the Knicks get into the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks are just going to be in the playoffs, give you a team to play, and they're going to lose. That's what it is. Raw thoughts. Like, they're not going to do nothing else. Phil Jackson is not a GM. Phil Jackson was a good coach who had players that were similar to his system. He had Michael Jordan. He must have heard me. I apologize. He had Kobe Bryant. They both guys were similar, and he had a triangle system that worked no matter what. So, like, you didn't have that. He wasn't coaching. He tried to make Melo into a Melo could have possibly fitted the triangle, but it was other players that wasn't working. So, with that being said, that's one thing. Chandler has destroyed that team. And one more thing on my conclusion. Stephen A. Smith is praying for the Knicks because he loves the Knicks. He want to see the Knicks. He feels like basketball in the East is good when the Knicks are playing good outside of anybody else. And he's just over here talking gibberish if he's saying that the Knicks should beat the Cavaliers, because when you look at the teams and you look at the tail of the tape, they evenly match, and they have a guy who's really good in Donovan Mitchell. They want Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's from their area like Brunson was. A lot of guys from New York from their area. So for me, he's praying that they win because at the end of the day, he wants to see it, but he knows in reality he can't see that, and it's not happening. So Stephen A. need to stop. He can't see it. He wants to see it, but he can't. And he's trying to find a way to boost it up. And he knows he has no control of what these Knicks going to do with ownership, even though he want to see it. Yeah, he's lucky to be on live television to express his opinions to the masses.
Express his raw thoughts, right.
But that's about it, because all he talking is raw thoughts. Ain't nothing else happening. So that being said, we off to the Knicks. And now we're going to go to the Western Conference real quick.
So you're going to go past the Celtics and Hawks?
Jesus Christ, please forgive me. Let me go ahead and put
you just want
to Hawks.
You just want to
give you a chance.
I get it.
I'm gonna give you a chance to talk about your guys, Celtics versus Hawks. And I apologize, man, because I
I'm messing with you. No, you good.
And I did. So Celtics versus Hawks, man. Let's go.
Yeah. This also should be a gentleman's sweep. I think that the Celtics win the first 3 games. I think Trey goes crazy in game 4 to keep them fighting alive for another day. And then Boston blows them out the building in game 5. As Celtics fans in general, we've been waiting for this all year. This is, we got to the finals last year.
To the finals?
We made it to the finals.
So you saying get back? So you say get back. I want to say this. I don't mean to interrupt. But the way it sounds like you're saying, the Celtics fans have been waiting for the playoffs all year. So it sounds like you're saying, well, you're skipping past the first round, skipping past the second round, but getting to the third round. We worried about getting to the finals. So you're trying to tell me that the Celtics are going to beat the Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah, not to skip the process, because obviously there's 3 rounds you got to get to in order to get to the finals. Have you seen how they played Milwaukee this year, whether Middleton was in the lineup or not? The only game they lost was when they sat everybody and lost by 6 with their C team. Giannis is the only threat that I'm really concerned about in the Eastern Conference, honestly. So I feel like they can get them in 7 games if they played them, even though the game 7 would be in 5-star form. I get that. Needless to say, I've said on another platform that I'm part of, I've said that I felt like this was a 2014 Spurs type redemption. And for those that that need to be brought up to speed on that, 2013, San Antonio faces Miami. They have them on the ropes, essentially, right? Obviously, Ray Allen hits one of the most famous shots of all time. They still had a chance to win Game 7. Kawhi Leonard misses some free throws. And so they essentially end up losing in 7, right? They come back the next year, basically with the same team. They run through the West, essentially. And Tim Duncan, who never talked trash, at least publicly anyways. They asked him after the Western Conference Finals, they beat OKC, and he says, they said, Tim, what are your thoughts on the finals? And he says, we'll get it done this time, and just walks off. So I'm looking for that type of bravado, that type of urgency from the Celtics team. Once again, I felt like they kind of got bored with the process the last few weeks. And as a fan who gets crazy emotional as I do, I was pissed off with the effort. But then it's like, look, if the effort was subpar because you were looking to the playoffs and you're going to turn it back on, then you shut me up as a fan. However, if your bad play at times at the end of the season seeps into what we're going to see in this first round, if not beyond, if they get that far, then that's a problem, because it becomes a coaching thing. It becomes an effort thing. So there's a lot of things they still need to work on. They got to work on how they play defense. They got to work on their ball movement, I feel like, just to speak objectively. So, but yeah, they're much better than Atlanta. I'm honestly, I'm not worried about Philly. Like, and you want him to be more confident all year. They think like, I will gladly come back on if Philly is their second round opponent. I have no worry about Philly, and people can scream for Embiid being MVP. Great, I hope he wins it. I really do. I'm concerned with Finals MVP. Like I don't. That's great. Let Embiid win that. Let him get that. Once again, the man dropped 53 the last time he played us. And they only won by 2. So Philly, when we're at full strength and they're at full strength, they know, we know, their fans know. They haven't beat us since Dr. J was out there in the short shorts. And once again, that's not an opinion, that's a fact. Or once again, we're wrestling fans. That's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. So it's just like that's just what it is. So yeah, I feel good coming into this series. I feel good in the conference finals at the least. Once again, Milwaukee can definitely beat Boston, but I'm not shaking in my boots the way I was last year.
I got Celtics over Hawks. I ain't even gonna waste my time on this. So let's go to a good series because you already said enough. I already knew what it was. So here we go.
You could pick the Hawks.
No.
You pick the Hawks just like you picked the Nets. Be like raw thoughts. I got Atlanta and 7.
Let's go. Since they back in the playoffs, he took a little break, and they had some funny conversation he had in the press a while back. LeBron James and the Lakers versus Ja Morant. You know, big time have fun. Ja Morant with I don't know if he Dennis Rodman, the Draymond Green. I forgot my guy name from Oregon that plays for them.
Dylan Brooks, yeah.
Dylan Brooks. So there we go. Who we got?
So on paper, the Grizzlies are the better team. So that's what I'm gonna go with. But you know, I want to tell people, do not be surprised that LA wins the series. Just don't be. And the reason why I say that is, you know, people keep looking for LeBron to be done. Like my co-host can't stand LeBron James. Aaron hates LeBron with every fiber of his being. Can't stand him. Greatness is greatness. And I can see not liking him because he whines and complains. Okay, fine. Okay, I can get that. But his play on a regular basis, like I don't know how we deny how good of a player he really is and has been throughout from day one, not in year 3 or 4, from day one when the man dropped 25, 9 and 5 against Sacramento 20 years ago. The man has been nothing but sensational. So I don't understand how we get to that with them. But once again, you know, as they say, it's lonely at the top, and he's been at the top for a long time. So once again, I'm going, you know, the analyst side of me. I'm going with Grizzlies in 6. But as I'm someone who has seen LeBron beat teams when they thought they wasn't going to win. Don't be surprised if LA wins the 6 either. I'll just say that. So I'm going with Memphis at 6, but do not be surprised if you see LA win the 6 either.
For me right now, I'm gonna be real. Raw thoughts. People can say what they want. You know, Memphis should be able to win this series, but at the same time, healthy AD, healthy LeBron James, experienced team, they'll find a way to get it done. I feel like the Lakers got in, they're gonna beat and upset the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies got dancing on Ja Morant, and LeBron James know it's a lot of weight on his shoulders every single time he steps on the floor. Not just playoff time, but steps on the floor. Healthy LeBron James, this team has a nice nucleus. I can see this team defeating Memphis, and homeboy Dylan Brooks better get his mind right because it could get ugly. That's my raw thoughts on that. Now we have Warriors versus Kings. The returning NBA champs make it to the playoffs, but they're going to be on the road the entire playoffs, what it looks like.
Yeah. And Aaron, if you're still watching the show, you'll appreciate this one. Maybe they do. maybe they do because he's a Rocket fan. That's why I'm saying that. The last time a 6 seed won the finals was his Houston Rockets back in '95.
Oh boy.
They ran to the gauntlet.
Oh boy.
There's not a team in the Western Conference that wants to see this team, meaning Golden State, when they're on. And I didn't say it when I talked about the Celtics a few minutes ago, but I'll say it on your show and I'll say it on my show that I do tomorrow. I want the rematch. I'm looking for Golden State to come back up into Boston. I don't want to see anybody else. Just like how the Spurs won in Miami. I can't let go of. Once again, I was right there on the floor when it happened. So I'm just like that's just where I'm at. I can't let go of that. Needless to say, this is probably the best draw for Golden State to get warmed up in this first round. I don't know what they call when we were growing up, it was called Arco Arena. I don't know what it's called now. The Golden One Center Arena.
Arco Arena.
Arco
We
know it as Arco. So
right.
Arco Arena is going to be unglued.
They haven't been to the playoffs probably since.
Listen,
Pedro Stojakovic,
them
Chris Webber, Bobby Jackson,
them franchise boys wasn't
Holly guy.
Yeah, so Franchise Boys was one of them was a top group in hip hop.
Hold on to what you said. This is gonna be a snippet right here, y'all. Oh my gosh, hold on. Like the Franchise Boys lean with it.
That we saw that. You feel me? So they really they're really changing things over there. And once again, Mike Brown early on said turn on the fucking Jets, and that's what happened. They turned on the Jets, and they have been awesome. I think people thought that they made a mistake in trading Halliburton, but Sabonis that's been an even trade. Halliburton has been great for Indiana. Sabonis has been great for Sacramento. The elevation of De'Aaron Fox's play, I think, has been huge. Kevin Huerter has been a very good piece to their rotation, and they have him long term because I know they locked him up at the beginning of the year. So they have a lot of things that's gone right, and I think that it's their time to be. They're not going to win the series, but it's their time to keep building off this, and I think they have something really good going in Sacramento. But Golden State. Okay, once again, I won't be surprised if it's a sweep, but Golden State should win in 5 or 6 here.
For me, honestly, raw thoughts. Man, Golden State is like a team that you play on a game. Like they could be down by 20. You can have 5 turnovers. They can hit 5 threes back in the game. By far the dangerous team. I don't care where they at on the road. Nobody shoots the ball like Golden State. And when I say shoot the ball, I know somebody did some analytics. My guy Danny Thompson did some analytics saying that the field goal percentage inside the 3-point line, the number one team scoring baskets is the Sacramento Kings this year.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I'm looking at this Golden State veteran team, been here, done that. If any team go on the road out of anybody in the playoffs, the Warriors could go anywhere and win because their ability to get hot at the right time. Mm-hmm. No team in the NBA can shoot the ball lights out like the Golden State Warriors. Yeah. Golden State Warriors have guys who go for 50. Klay Thompson, Steph Curry. I say Jordan Poole go about 30 or 40 points. But I'm going to just leave it there. But I'm saying guys like that who can make like game-changing plays.
Mm-hmm.
I like Mike Brown in this situation. Here's why. Him and Jason Kidd, I like them. Those guys are coaching young teams. I feel like that fits them better compared to coaching all these veterans who think they know it all. Even though he was assistant coach with Steve Kerr, he had a style. Steve Kerr liked it. But I think Mike Brown can make a good living coaching up these young guys instead of trying to coaching all these veterans who like to run the show, who can get you fired.
So let me ask you a question before we move on to the next team. So obviously, Wiggins had been away for a while because, dealing with personal issues and people had made their own narratives as to what happened, what didn't happen.
Right.
Once again, which is none of our business. As long as he's fine, his family's fine.
Pretty much, right.
That's all that matters. So do they get it done or at least get past Sacramento if Wiggins is not there?
I'm going to tell you now, raw thoughts. I don't care Wiggins there, Wiggins not there. Golden State getting to the Western Conference Finals.
Okay, so I mean the reason why I asked that, so he adds and we saw it in the finals, right? So he adds so much defensively for them,
right?
So obviously, you know, we know what Draymond brings defensively. We know when Clay is locked in and what he can bring defensively,
Right.
he's a step slower. You know, maybe we see the rise of Jonathan Kuminga in this series. I think that they have been prepping him all year for this moment.
Right.
Obviously, especially the last 30 games, they've been revving his
Whew.
revving his minutes up. And
Right.
it's really wild to have someone like that in the chamber. You know, and having as a luxury when Wiggins has been out. So if his play is like what Wiggins was, then yeah, look out because he's younger. Dare I say he's equally as athletic as Andrew Wiggins. So I just think that Wiggins was such a key part of their success last year. That I think that they need him at some point in this playoff run, whether it be against Sacramento or whoever they play next. But yeah, Kuminga might be their X factor though.
I'm gonna tell you some raw thoughts with the Golden State boys. I'm gonna give some raw thoughts to the world and to you, Hollywood Ray. The role players of Golden State are the luckiest individuals in basketball. Reason why? They don't never have the best defender on them, and they always get all the wide open shots. So you know, because those franchise players like
you
command double teams, right. So like, right, and that's why I say with even Kuminga coming in and playing, well, Kuminga could have a breakout series, but at the same time, it's gonna always be because of Steph, Clay, Poole at the moment. If Wiggins was there, if Wiggins not there, he's gonna get those open looks because of people knowing that Clay can get hot at any moment, and we already know how Steph.
Well, I mean, Harrison Barnes is going to be the guy that's probably going to draw that assignment with Kuminga or Wiggins, whoever's out there.
He's a good one. Harrison.
I mean, no, I'm Tar Heel guy, so you know, I love.
Let's not talk about that. But go ahead.
At this, right? No, but I'm not saying. Come on, we're having a good show now. Don't do that. No. Barnes at this stage of his career, I don't know if he can stay in front of Kuminga like that. Kuminga can go upstairs. He can. He might yam it. So I just think that once again you have to be very crafty with how they drop the defenses. Once again, I don't know who's going to guard Steph. Maybe it's De'Aaron Fox. I don't know. But he's going to.
Steph said they might run the box and win on them. As long as they stay out the lane, they can do it.
Something's got to give because it's just like, you know, I'm not sure. If you try to guard them traditionally, like you'll be going home in 4 games because once again, if you don't find a way, and this is wild because they're the home team, or they have the home court advantage.
But the crazy part is, like it's still like a home game for Sacramento. I mean, not Sacramento, to Golden State. California.
Sure. I mean, they're right
down. It's not nowhere that fans are gonna be able to come down.
That crowd's gonna be crazy though. Like I once again, we haven't seen it in a long time, so we forgot.
Right.
When that team was hot in the early 2000s, I don't know if there was a better building in the NBA.
I agree.
Than Sacramento. I don't know that crowd. I mean, with the cowbells and they were
Shaq is
on
a part of ownership now. Am I correct?
Yeah, new ownership. I think that the I forget the owners of the team now. I know Shaq had a minor, stake in him as well, but I don't know who's the guys there now. I don't know if Divock is still there too as a member. Right. Yeah, but it's like either way, that crowd has been game 1 on Sunday is going to be insane. That crowd has been starving for the moments. They've seen DeMarcus Cousins come through there. Isaiah Thomas, Tyreek Evans, Francisco Garcia. Like they've had a lot of guys come through that organization that did okay with them, but did great elsewhere. They've been dying for this moment. And so once again, I expect them game 1 to be on 1,000, and that I expect the Kings to feed off that energy. But we've learned over the last decade, outside of LeBron, there's been no bigger crowd silencer than Steph Curry. He lives for these moments. So
easy money for him is what they say.
What's wild, Sacramento better find a way to split these first 2 games, which is wild to say because they got the home. They better find a way to split. If they don't split these first 2, and they had
a good season. That's what we're gonna be saying. They had a good season. And at least Mike Brown got coach of the year. At least he got coach of the year. That's it.
Yeah,
But
that's it. That's time.
we got 2 more segments before we get off. Running out of time. So here we go. We got the Clippers versus the Suns. I'm gonna let you go ahead first.
So I'm only my only disappointment with this series is that we're getting it in the first round. I wish that we were seeing this in the conference finals. I feel like we're getting robbed, of even more greatness to, by seeing this in the first round. It's wild because I know people are picking the Clippers. They think the Clippers, they playoff Kawhi is different, and he has been. To me, I just don't see a path of them beating Phoenix with a healthy Paul George. That's just my opinion. I think that Paul George was phenomenal against them a couple. Oh no, it wasn't them. Was it them? Yeah, it was against Phoenix a couple years ago. He was really good against them, and as good of a defender Josh Okogie is, he can't sit with Paul George on his best day. If we're being honest, when Paul George is on, but I'm going with Phoenix. I'm going with Phoenix in this one. I think that KD is going to go ballistic on the Clippers. I want to see that Kawhi KD matchup, but once again, the man pull up for 30, pull up for 35 feet, and he's the only 7-footer I've seen. Well, not only 7-footer, but he is a 7-footer whose game is not predicated on athleticism. He has a great handle still, and it's that 1-2 quick pull up, and then he's shooting from 30. So I'm rolling with Phoenix. But this is going 7. This is the first time I've been talking about everyone dominating. This series is going 7 games. So I got Phoenix at 7.
And wow, 7 is for me too as well.
Yeah.
But the only problem I got with Phoenix is the depth. That means they're gonna have to go out here, and it's even worse for the next series if they do get past the Clippers. Because they gotta play with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and KD on the floor majority of the minutes. The Clippers, if they had Paul George, and I don't know when they're gonna get him or not, but if they have those guys, the depth of the Clippers is perfect for a lot of teams in the Western Conference Finals because Russ can play his position. PG is a one-on-one nightmare when he's on. Kawhi Leonard the same way. Do you got Batum? Do you got Covington? Do you got Morris? Do you got the Highland kid? Do you got Eric Gordon? Like, these guys can spread the floor so well. Now, the thing is, I've seen a better Russ. Russ has shot over 45% behind the three-point line since he's been with the Clippers. Like, guys were killing him, joking on him, saying that he can't shoot, he's dead. That guy has been unconscious behind the arc since he's been with the Clippers. Maybe it was coaching. Maybe it was somebody who couldn't get together. But what I'm saying is here, KD's going to get his. Booker may get his. As much as I like Chris Paul, love Chris Paul.
Put some respect on that man's name. No, don't say May. Devin Booker's going to get his. He's going to get his.
Well, what I'm saying is, Devin,
you see that man get 70. He got 70 on my team before. That man.
Look,
that man can score.
I'm not questioning his scoring ability. I'm questioning the depth of the team. If one of those guys get in foul trouble, this could get ugly. If they get a Paul George during this series, and Chris Paul, much as I love Chris Paul, man, we know Chris Paul is one injury away from getting poked in the belly, and he's on the sideline. I'm just saying. I mean, I look at this team, it's the depth.
So you talking about your North Carolina guy like that?
No, he's a tough guy. He's a warrior, but he's getting old. And I have nothing against Chris Paul, but I'm keeping the raw thought.
He been old since 2015. He been old.
Man, I know, but and the thing is, because the beauty of his game, I ain't gonna say it's a John Stockton game. People are not expecting Chris Paul to give you 40. So Chris Paul can go lead the team. As long as you have players around him who can score the basketball, he can stay around for a while, which is cool. But the thing is, you still always say, like, how did Chris Paul get hurt? Like, what happened? Like, how did this happen? How did that happen? So I'm going with the Clippers.
Yeah.
Simply because I feel like Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook. And the thing is, for me, I'm going to go with a spoiler, as what you said, because I already got the Clippers in the finals.
Okay.
Spoiler. And the reason why I'm saying it, because this year playoffs is the year that Russell Westbrook will have to do more because he knows he has to do more if Paul George is out. If Russell Westbrook keeps this style of play that he has up with all these shooters around him, Russell Westbrook, since KD left, has not had so many shooters around him. Lakers didn't get nothing. Houston didn't have as many shooters. This team by far has the best quality role players to drive and kick to get him that ISO to get to the basket. I ain't seen so many shooters on one team, man, for him. This could be pretty for Russell.
Yeah,
because kick out.
No, I know, I do think, and once again, I know we've joked off air. You know, we've talked even later than that about that. That's how big of a fan we are of the game. We talked.
Yeah.
Even early in the morning, get up like, yo, good morning, bro. Did you see what happened? Like, all right, man. All right, my guy. Like, you know, it's been fun seeing your fandom come back. But yeah, no, I mean, listen. He's been in. I said talking about Westbrook. Yes, he has played better than I expected. I think better than most expected. I still think a game that we have seen. I still think a game is coming like how we've seen early in the year, where it might be a 5 of 16, 5 of 17. And it's not because of like how they scheme it. It's just gonna be like because he wants it so badly, which he's been like that his whole career. He wants it so badly. He wants to beat the other team so badly. He's gonna get to a moment where he says, "This guy can't stay in front of me." And Chris Paul is going to be like, all right, okay, keep shooting type thing. And it's just like that. That's what it's going to turn into, I feel like, maybe for a game.
And I'm glad you said it because I'm going to interrupt.
Which could cost them unless Kawhi and, like I said, if PG comes back and they both go. You know, I remember, once again, Chris Paul had the best game of his career, in my opinion, against them a couple years ago in the conference finals.
Yeah.
That game 6 to close them out in their building. That 41 points he had, I was like, wow. I was like, he played a perfect game that night. And obviously it's a different makeup. It's a different thing. I just think Phoenix has a little bit more pressure because of
right.
When you make that type of deal to bring in Kevin Durant, you got to get out.
You got to win. You got to win, right?
Yeah, you got to win. But I'm saying, like, but you got to at least get out the first round. But I will say this before
that part. I agree.
I will say this before we jump into the final series of the evening. I do think you're selling the supporting pieces of Phoenix a little bit short. And the reason why I say that, so like I remember Boston smacked Phoenix when we went out there early in the year. Like it was a scrimmage essentially. Phoenix came to Boston in early February, and this is right before the Durant. This kid Ish Wainwright, Damian Lee, who was on the Warriors last year, DeAndre Ayton, Josh Okogie, those guys, they played really good defense. They had high energy, and they basically did whatever they wanted against my Celtics team. So the reason why I bring that up, I do think we see DeAndre Ayton grow up in this series. I do. Once again, you better when you got Mason Plumlee or Miles whatever Plumlee brother is guarding you. Let's be real. He may grow up. I think Okogie is going to be huge in this series as someone to spell him Durant. I think the sweet spot for Durant should be maybe 35, 36 minutes. Should not be playing 41, 42. I think 35 to 36 will be fine. You let Okogie play 15 to 18. Damian Lee play 10 to 15 or whatever. And then you just go from there. So it won't be as one-sided as you're alluding to. Do I think the Clippers are deeper? Yeah, I agree with you on that. I do think the Clippers are deeper. But I do think there might be a time where it won't matter because once again, if KD's being KD, he's going to be the best player on the floor. And he's going to say what he said a couple years ago when he faced the Clippers. Come on, it's me. Y'all know my work.
With that being said, I'm glad you said it.
Oh,
the most interesting piece that I started thinking about while you was talking is we might see a feisty series from Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul. at each other. We
Him
get a
and KD
7-game
too.
series.
KD
We
too.
might see some fighting, some blows, you know.
Mhm.
So I mean that
I
part
hope so.
and Kawhi Leonard quiet, but KD probably gonna talk his talk. But you know, Kawhi Leonard don't say much. He just plays whether we agree or disagree with it. But before we
Right.
we got like a few more minutes before we wrap up the show. I want this to go because we got the Raw Thought Minute coming up.
Yep.
Your dark horse player in the playoffs.
So you don't want to talk about the Denver series, and then we do dark horse, or you want to do
I
dark
thought
horse?
didn't we predict who? Lord, I didn't even realize that. I'm sorry. All right, Raw thoughts, people. One thing about it is the script messed up. Denver versus who?
Well, yeah, well, I mean, I guess whoever wins this here, but Denver's. I mean, listen, I'm biased when it comes to Nikola Jokic. You know, I know DeMarcus Cousins in general is saying that he shouldn't win the MVP 3 times in a row because it puts him in a different conversation. But needless to say, he's carried them all year. This Denver team is for real, in my opinion. We still haven't seen, I think, the best Jamal Murray yet. You know, it's kind of like, we're kind of just waiting. We're waiting to see what Jamal Murray is going to become again. But yeah, I do think that whoever they face, it should also be over in 5, regardless of who the AFC it is. So which would be cool after what happened a few years ago with that Suns at 4 thing. So there's a lot of storylines there if that happens once again. But like I said, not Phoenix, Denver, whoever they play, it should also be a gentleman's sweep as well.
Denver has a lot of pressure on them. Like people getting tired of seeing Denver get there. So whoever they play, they gotta put up a shut up. This at the moment. Raw thoughts.
Facts.
But we're gonna go to the for that because we got
yep.
a little bit of time. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna call it Raw Thought Minute. Although I was talking about dark horse players earlier, but
I mean, Raw Thought Minute means you can still say it now.
Yeah, you can still say it in this moment. Raw Thought Minute, based on you want to discuss, we'll say NBA at this moment that needs to be done, and it's your raw thoughts we haven't discussed on the show. Maybe you have something to discuss, maybe you have something to keep going back on, but this is your Raw Thought Minute.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I'll use this minute to talk about who I think in the dark, who's going to be a darkest player, and I'm gonna stick with my actual team. Well, I'll give 2 players. I'll give one on my team and then one on a different team. So, for my team personally, the guy that I feel like is going to be phenomenal for us this playoffs is Malcolm Brogdon. I think that he has been phenomenal all year. He should be the 6th man of the year for his play off the bench for the Celtics. I think that we'll really see him shine in the light that we haven't seen him shine since his Milwaukee days. So I'm excited to see what he does. The other dark horse I want to say, I'm actually going to go with Josh Okogie on Phoenix. I think that, he has some moments in Minnesota. Obviously, he's been, he's gotten some shine in Phoenix, but I think he's someone that is a heck of a defender, a very good 3-and-D type player. So I do think we'll see a coming out party for Josh Okogie, in this postseason, regardless of how far Phoenix goes.
Raw thoughts. I'm gonna make this short, quick. Everybody already know where I'm going at with this. Raw Thought Minute. Playoff time. We know what time it is. When they get in the playoffs, LeBron James always has the biggest pressure. LeBron James, you can't be exiting out the first round. LeBron James, I don't care what team you got. You can't get the concept of I just have a good team or we just end up getting tired in the first round. Nobody wants to hear that from you. Nobody cares about that. You have a high level of expectations that nobody can have. Steph Curry gets knocked out the first round. Nobody's going to talk about Steph Curry, even though he didn't win 4 championships. Nobody's not going to talk about that. Greek Freak gets knocked out the first round. Nobody's not going to talk about that. It's not going to be breaking storylines. You are now officially in the headlines of yourself and the Dallas Cowboys. Always going to make headlines for some reason. And at the end of the day, I don't care what happens. No excuses, just results. You got to get it done. I don't know how you're going to get it done, but you got to get it done. You can't lose to Memphis in the first round. Or believe me, regardless of the situation, regardless of your seating, people are going to have you all over every media outlet there is. And then the best part of it is the people who don't like you. I told you he won't like Jordan. Jordan would have never lost with 80 on his team, blah, 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 all that type of stuff. So, although I like to talk about Russell Westbrook, this Raw Thought Minute is for you, LeBron. You're in the playoffs. In their mind, no matter what you got, they expect you to get to the finals. Do I expect you to get to the finals with the team you got? I don't know. I don't think so because I got the LA Clippers. Some people probably got to go to state. But Raw Thoughts, you know what it is. When you did that on your head that day, you know, you're a Capricorn like me. I get it. You know, at the end of the day, sometimes you got to crown yourself because people ain't always gonna doubt you and gonna put you in a corner. So you're gonna find a way to get out of it.
Not in the playing.
Which I do believe you'll find a way to get out of it, but it is what it is.
Not no damn playing.
But look, but he's not in the playing game anymore. He's with the Grizzlies.
No, I'm saying it was though. That's saying like that. That's
Raw Thoughts. And which was wild because for some reason, even though since you brought the playing game, they was down. I was talking about the Super Bowl when I saw it, but when it was down, I said to myself, this game looks like the Lakers gonna win. Like I just knew it. I didn't even want to watch the rest of it, but that's what it was. So anyway, that's all for the show. Go ahead.
You knew what the script was.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, I mean, whatever. They all hype. No, they won't go lose to the was it Timberwolves? Was it the Timberwolves they played?
Yep, and the Timberwolves completely folded. So yep.
With that being said, that's the wrap of this show, baby. And raw thoughts. Here we go. Ray, tell them where they can find you.
So yes, Hollywood Ray. So you can find me on Instagram at I am Hollywood Ray. You can listen to me on a show called Missing the Point, which on there on YouTube is just Missing the Point podcast. So hit the subscribe button. Also, I'm on That's My Sports. And our handle on there is That's My Sports. Or if you follow us on Twitter or Instagram, it is so Twitter, I think is TMS Podcast, and then _ TMS Podcast, and then on Instagram it's just TMS Podcast. So as always, it's a pleasure to be on here. I felt like because we have such a good chemistry, our shows get better each time. That it is you and me. So you know we continue to give the people what they want. So the Raw Thoughts Nation, the Raw Mind Nation, I thank you for listening when we do this, because he keeps asking me to come back. So that means that we're doing something good.
Exactly. We're definitely doing something very
so
good.
that's where y'all can find me. And once again, another time. So keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing something great.
We already know where to find me at all podcast platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You already know. Website, rawmindsports.com. And grateful, because this show was brought to you by Essential Collections. Give a shout out, Monica Rich at essentialcollections.square.site. Use the promo code RAWMIND. You get a 15% discount on all products. That's right. Use the promo code RAWMIND. Make yourself look good with handmade products. Raw Thoughts, Raw Mind is out.